Hi guys, today I'm talking about business setup. I decided how to form my business and what type of business to file for several reasons. I knew from the get-go I wanted to have full control, so I wanted to have a sole proprietorship. I didn't want to have or add partners. As a sole proprietor, I had a couple of options open to me. I could run the sole proprietorship simply and just use my social security number for the business, or I could open a limited liability company or an LLC. I chose the LLC because it creates a new tax ID for my business, separate from my own social security number. It offers, as the name suggests, limited liability in the eyes of the law. The business is its own entity and not just a representation of myself. I found all these factors to be really important, and so that is why I made that specific choice. It's a little more expensive than simply being a sole proprietor. However, I felt the cost was worth, and the paperwork was worth, the protection it offered. To figure all this out, I did a lot of research. I started with my state's Secretary of State website and then my state's business guide websites. I've noticed a lot of states have these now. I did a ton of reading on what they recommended in each situation, what the benefits and downsides of each type of business were, and then once I felt comfortable with all the research I had done, I consulted with my lawyer and my accountant to see what their recommendations were for the best course of action in my situation and with my business. Throughout this process, I hit some walls. One of the bumps was figuring out which paperwork to file and in what order to get my LLC and to register my business. There's a lot of paperwork, and sometimes it's hard to know the order and to make sure that all the information syncs up, because sometimes they even use different terminology. I found that legal counsel can be very helpful for this, to getting you a roadmap and getting you all set up and making sure that you're doing it correctly. And it's really important to make sure you do it accurately because all these different organizations talk to each other, and you want to make sure they have the same information on file and there's no confusion. And it's really important, at least to me, to get this done at the very beginning because I felt like the foundation that I started my business with, especially from a legal perspective, was just super important. I didn't want to have to reconcile paperwork or go back and try and find months and months worth of information later if something should go wrong. So it was super important to get it all set up right at the very beginning and make sure I was comfortable with how I was running my business right from the get-go. When I was setting up my business, I found there's tons of great resources out there. The first is SBA.gov. It's a national small business resource with lots of great information. It's super easy to navigate and very helpful. Second, I would say check out your state resources, local resources. The State Secretary of State website, your state business guide websites, and even my city had a local business website that help you with checklists and information on how to set up, start, and run your business. There's great resources and usually very helpful also. Lastly, I would say there's tons of bloggers out there. I just started my blog, allmyhatsblog.com, where I talk about businesses, and there's tons of others out there that talk about running your business, setting it up, and all that information. And it's fantastic that there's such a great community out there. Lastly, I would say once you've gotten through all the reading, find yourself a great lawyer and a great accountant. It's absolutely invaluable to be able to call someone up and say, hey, I'm stuck and I could really use your professional advice, and to have someone on the other line be able to offer it to you. So those are kind of the resources I have found to be the most helpful, and I hope you guys can tell me some of yours too. So leave a comment down below telling me what kind of business you set up, what resources you used, and how you plan to move forward in your business.